Okay, so now we go on to the next section, which is Lonakapalla Sutta. Please turn to page 14. Look at the first paragraph. Because if one were to say thus, a person experiences karma in precisely the same way that he created it. In such a case, there could be no living of the spiritual life, and no opportunity would be seen for completely making an end of suffering. But if one were to say thus, when a person creates karma that is to be experienced in a particular way, he experiences its result precisely in that way. In such a case, the living of the spiritual life is possible, and an opportunity is seen for completely making an end of suffering. Can you understand these two paragraphs? This is what I just showed you just now. You should be able to understand. Alright? If you cannot, then I hope your group members can further enlighten you. Now, the rest of the sutta are attempts for the Buddha to try to elaborate on these two paragraphs. Okay? Here it says that there are two persons, and each of them had committed or created an identical, trifling bad karma. And this identical, trifling bad karma can cause one to be reborn in hell, but it will only cause the other to experience the result in this very life and not the next. Alright, this is just to paraphrase these two paragraphs. And third paragraph. Then in the fourth and the fifth paragraph, the Buddha asks what sort of person will be led to hell, and what sort of person will need to only pay his karmic debt in this very life and not the next. So the person who can be led to hell is one who is undeveloped in body, in moral virtue, in virtuous behavior, mind and wisdom. He is limited and has a mean character, and he dwells in suffering. Whereas the person who need not go to hell but need only to pay his debt in this very life and not the next is someone who is developed in body, virtuous behavior, mind and wisdom. He is unlimited and has a lofty character, and he dwells without measure. Then the Buddha went on to give three similes again to illustrate this point. The first simile is that of the lump of salt, which is the title of this sutta. He says that if you put a lump of salt in a bowl of water, you can expect the bowl of water to be salty because of the small quantity of water. On the other hand, if you put the same amount of salt into the waters of the Ganges, you would have no significant effect because of the volume of water. Correct? That is the first simile. The second simile is that of a money thief. Two people steal the same amount of money. One is caught and imprisoned, whereas the other goes away scot-free. Why? Because one is poor and the other one is wealthy. The third simile is that of a sheep thief. So similarly, two people steal sheep. One could be executed, imprisoned, fined, or otherwise penalized for stealing a sheep. And the other person, he can't be executed, he can't be imprisoned, he can't be fined or penalized in any way for stealing the sheep. In fact, not only is the sheep merchant unable to do all these things to him, he has to actually plead with him, "Sir, return my sheep or pay me for it." So what's the difference? Here, the first person is poor with little property and wealth, whereas the second person is not only rich and wealthy, he is also powerful and influential. Okay? So these are the three similes that the Buddha gave to illustrate his point. And then he concludes with the opening paragraph. So this is clear enough. Now look at discussion topic number 2 on page 25. After having read through the suttas, what can we learn about how to diminish the effects of bad past karma? In particular, what is the basic principle governing the ability to diminish the effects of bad past karma? Give evidence from specific passages in the sutta to support your conclusions. Please confine your answers to just within the sutta. And that's all we want to know. And actually the answers are very simple. They can be found in the sutta. And don't try to extrapolate and speculate. This is sutta study in workshop. We try to be objective and not try to speculate or try to give our own personal interpretation of what is not found in the sutta itself. So this question is very specific. It's only about this sutta. Alright, put aside all your extracurricular knowledge that you have gathered from elsewhere. Alright, so there are actually two questions. First is, what can we learn about how to diminish the effects of bad karma based on this sutta only? And then, more specifically, what is the basic principle governing the ability to diminish the effects of bad past karma? Alright, just two questions. But you need to give evidence. Quote the specific passage based upon which you come to this conclusion. Okay? So please start your discussion.